Marvel started this movie with the coolest tribute to Stan Lee. Their opening cinematic logo was all the cameos Stan Lee had in all the different movies. I thought it was very cool, and that got more applause than anything else in this movie. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackwitz. This is the Kaged Review, and this is a review, non-spoiler review, for Captain Marvel. There has been a lot of talk about this movie, and I'm not going to really touch too much on the controversy. I don't agree with what Brie Larson said. I think she really shoved her foot in her mouth. I'm going to leave it at that. The movie review is based solely on the merits of the movie. So, directed by Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, I wasn't entirely familiar with too many people other than like Jude Law, Brie Larson, Ben Mendelsohn, Samuel L. Jackson. So I was kind of interested to see what kind of direction this movie had. And especially with what I saw in the trailers, you didn't get a lot of emotion from Brie Larson in a lot of the clips from the movie trailers. She just did not emote at all. And thankfully, the trailers were really deceptive, and I don't know how or why, but she actually had quite a bit of personality in this movie. So that's the first thing I want to say. I was worried about her being very bland and stale and emotionless. Not the case. She did come out strong with some personality, not only with emotional range, but with a lot of quips that were very well timed. There was a lot of humor that I think landed in this movie. Marvel has been very good at making sure that whatever jokes they make land with the majority of the audience. I mean, it seems like they really test that out. So I was very happy to see that. I was also very happy to see that, like I said, the emotional impacts were sold with the acting, and I think that was a very big thing that I was kind of, again, apprehensive about watching the trailers. But Brie Larson, she is an Oscar-winning actress, so you know that she has acting ability. And I don't know that there was a lot of scenes in this movie that really made you act out something, but there were a couple of scenes that were meant to tug on your heartstrings, and her and Lashana Lynch also did really well with that. Those two especially, there was one scene with them together kind of in the middle of the movie that they kind of had to sell some dynamic performance, you know, some emotional parts. And I think it was sold very well. So, really a much bigger fan of Brie Larson in the movie as Captain Marvel than I thought I was going to be. I have to be fair. Don't like what the person said, but as the actress, as the character, it worked. Samuel L. Jackson had a lot more screen time than I thought he was going to have. And somebody made reference to this kind of seeming like a buddy cop movie in a way, you know, like Space Cop and, you know, Secret Agent buddied up. And it was kind of a buddy cop in a lot of ways. You know, two guys, well, a guy and a girl, making a lot of clips back and forth, had a lot of comedy to it, and feeding off each other very well. I think the chemistry between Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson worked. I really did like it. And side note, the CGI, the de-aging that they did on Samuel L. Jackson was phenomenal. They've done very, very well at making several actors look much younger than they are. And this is no exception. Samuel L. Jackson looked amazing with the CGI makeover. He really did. Jude Law, not as big a role as I thought he was going to have. It looked from the trailers like he might have a much more substantial role, and he did have, you know, a somewhat big part, but not nearly as big as I thought it was going to be. And I'm a big fan of Jude Law, and he kills everything he does, and I think this is no exception. I don't know that his role really took for a lot of acting ability, but he made it work, and he made it, you know, himself, and really had his personality shine through in this role. So therefore, I was very happy with it. Ben Mendelsohn is another guy that really shone in this movie. He he plays a human version of himself and Talos, one of the Skrulls, and very good both ways, honestly. And he really killed it. Honestly, he just killed it. Um, Again, this is another person where their comedic timing was just spot on. There's this scene where they're in a house of Carol Danvers' friend, and don't worry, this isn't spoilers. I'm not going to spoil anything in this. Um, but he just lands so many jokes back to back that just nailed it and had the audience laughing. Um, so big fan of Mendelsohn, and he's one of those guys that no matter what he does, it just seems to work very, very well. Um, Captain Marvel. Well, I shouldn't say Captain Marvel. Marvel, the character. Um, I was kind of disappointed that they changed it to a woman just because they wanted to have this feminist thing going on. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a big thing. It wasn't really a big deal. And you couldn't get much better than Annette Bening for anything. Annette Bening is one of my favorite actresses, always has been, always will be. She is phenomenal. Um, and really, this does not showcase her acting abilities. But she did serve the role well, I think. So, overall, I'm a big fan of the acting. I really was. I thought that everybody did a very good job. I thought the comedy landed. Some of the dialogue, it's still a comic book movie. It's still kind of what I want to call a contemporary movie, which by that I mean, it's a lot more special effects and a lot less acting. This did have some good acting to it, but, some of the dialogue still kind of cheesy, still kind of comic booky. I don't know that I had any real big problems with this. Some people absolutely hated it for some reason, and they come back, and I honestly think they're just trying to feed into the controversy, if I'm being honest. I don't think anybody could go into this movie and truly say they hated it. I'm sorry, I don't feel that they could. Because it's not a great movie. It's a good movie. It's not a great movie, but it's still a very good movie. It's very entertaining. It's very funny. And, that's kind of what I go to the theater for. I'm not trying to pick apart everything. I'm not trying to tear apart the storylines and things like that. I'm very casual. But I honestly think that if you're hearing reviews that are just saying this movie's terrible, it's because they're just trying to hate on the movie. And that's just my personal opinion. I don't think you can go into this and say it was horrible. The Cat. A lot of people coming up to this movie in early reviews were talking about The Cat. And I'm like, what's the big deal with The Cat? It's a cat. How good of a performance could it have? It was hilarious. And I'm going to have to save everything for spoilers when it comes to that. But damn, it was great. It really was. I thoroughly enjoyed, I think they call him Grouch. I don't know. I don't know if that's entirely true. But whatever the name was, The Cat was amazing. Very, very funny, very cool. Some of the things they did just had me laughing out loud. So I was very happy with that too. Yeah, I was, had this big question mark over what the point was, and I get it now. So I really did like the movie. I'm sorry, I did. I know people are going to try to hate on this just to hate on it, and, especially with Brie Larson's comments, I get it. But as a movie, it was fine. You did get a couple of credit scenes, a mid-credit scene and an end-credit scene. One I thought was very cool and very poignant, and the other one was just, funny. So overall, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. I had a good time. Marvel has certainly put out better movies, and it's certainly put out worse movies. Thor: The Dark World, Iron Man 3. It just is what it is. I don't feel any reason to hate on it because of what was said, and yeah. By the merits of the movie, 7.5 out of 10. So that's my opinion on it. I'll get more into detail with the spoiler review. There's a lot of things I want to talk about here, but can't yet. So I will get underway with that very quickly. I'll start the spoiler review, get everything loaded up as fast as I can. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you've seen the movie, don't put any spoilers in this review. Save it for the spoiler review. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwoods. Kaged Nation, out.